Hey there, Alex here. When I tested the first Moto G, I called it a game changer, because it was the first cheap Android phone that I've used that wasn't just complete crap. It even went on to become one of Motorola's best-selling smartphones. So let's see if Lenovo can recreate that magic with the Moto G5 Plus. Instead of going for that unapologetically plastic look on past Moto G, Lenovo is trying for a more premium look with the Moto G5 Plus. Lenovo even calls it a precision-crafted metal design. If you look at pictures of the phone on their website, that all-metal body with chamfered edges really does look premium. Unfortunately, when I first held the phone in my hand, I was instantly reminded of how much the phone cost. The only part of the body that is metal is this back panel. That chamfered edge is really just a plastic chrome finishing. With that said, I don't think it's a big deal. While it may not be as premium feeling, it still does look pretty good to me. Even the infamous camera hump from the Moto Z has grown on me a little, despite still not being entirely certain about its durability. But the Moto G has never been about premium materials. It's about providing as good a smartphone experience as possible for a reasonable price. So let's talk about that. Starting with the display, it is a 5.2-inch Full HD LCD panel. The bezels are a little thick for my liking, and outdoor visibility could be a bit better. But other than that, it is a decent looking display. Just above it, you'll find the only speaker on the phone. Sound quality might not be the best I've heard, but it's front-firing and it has decent volume. Below the display, there is a fingerprint sensor that is not only fast, but reliable too. If you turn on this new Moto feature called One Button Nav, you can even use it as navigation buttons. A short tap to go home, a longer tap to put the phone to sleep, an even longer tap to activate Google Assistant, a swipe left to go back, a swipe right to get to recent apps, and a double swipe to jump back to the previous app. You can swap the order too if that's what you prefer. If you want to do a split screen, just drag and drop the app like this. Some people will probably love the ability to maximize the whole screen for content, but for me, I still prefer using on-screen buttons. It's just less cluttered and a light tap on screen is just way easier for me compared to swiping around. Other Moto features that we know and love are still here too, like a double chop to turn on the flashlight, a double twist to launch the camera, and Moto Display for providing quick glanceable notifications. For Moto Display, there is a slight redesign with a bit more colors, but I still prefer the older design. Other than that, what we get is a mostly stock version of Android Nougat with a launcher that is similar to that of the Google Pixel, both of which I'm a huge fan of. So you get the swipe up app drawer and a smooth and responsive interface unencumbered by bloatware. Part of that great performance might be down to Lenovo's choice of processor too. The Moto G5 Plus uses the Snapdragon 625 chipset that is known for its balance between power and efficiency. It comes in two configurations in the US, a 32GB model with 2GB of RAM, and the one I have here is the 64GB model with 4GB of RAM. In my time with it, I have no complaints about the performance of the chipset. Of course, it's not as fast as high-end devices, but it's more than enough for my needs. This power-efficient chipset also means that I almost never have to worry about the 3000 mAh battery running out before the end of the day. So while it supports fast charging, I rarely found myself needing it. I would have preferred the newer USB Type-C port here, but considering its price, micro USB works just fine. Then, we move on to the camera portion, a place where most budget devices cut corners. On paper, the Moto G5 Plus looks really promising. It has a 12-megapixel camera sensor with f1.7 aperture and slightly larger pixels. It also has dual autofocus pixels for faster autofocus. It's a very similar setup to the Galaxy S7, except it doesn't have optical image stabilization. The image signal processor is different, and I'm guessing the quality of the lens is probably different too. In general, it's a pretty enjoyable camera to use in most situations. The camera produces pleasing looking shots with nice colors, and with the f1.7 aperture, I can get some pretty nice looking background blur effect. It performs decently as long as there's still enough light, but in dimmer lighting conditions, it falls apart very quickly. The images tend to look a little bit blotchy, probably from the higher ISO and the not so great image processing, but as long as you don't pixel peep, it still looks decent enough for social media. The 5-megapixel front camera is the same story too, producing decent results in good lighting conditions, but not that great in low light. The Moto G5 Plus redeems itself a little with the ability to do 4K video recording, something you don't see that often on cheaper devices. Even though the quality might not be as good as flagship devices, it's still nice to have that option. While I can clearly see where some corners were cut to get to this price point, the overall camera experience is still pretty decent all things considered. It's probably one of the better performers at this price range. Compromises are something that you simply can't avoid on a budget smartphone. Over the years, we've seen Motorola and now Lenovo add and remove features from the Moto G series, always trying to achieve a balance between price and capabilities. Of course, it would be great if they could just pack in all the features into the Moto G5 Plus, but that would increase the price of the phone. I do have a few concerns like the lack of an NFC chip for US models, and Lenovo's track record at updating their phones isn't that great. But other than that, the Moto G5 Plus definitely lives up to the Moto G name. If you're looking for a great smartphone experience and don't want to spend too much money, you should definitely consider this phone. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to subscribe to the channel to see more content like this. Thanks, and see you guys on the next one.